David Cassidy, man undercover, won't be seen tonight, so he can bring you a very special episode of The Gen X Files. Welcome to The Gen X Files. I'm Jim.
I'm Adam.
And today's show is all about Beverly Hills Cop.
Take yourself back. 1984. July 18th in San Ysidro, San Diego, California. 41-year-old James Oliver Huberty sprays a McDonald's restaurant with gunfire, killing 21 people before being shot and killed himself.
I remember that because that was the first mass shooting that I was aware of, and it took place really close to where I lived. Yeah. So, it's just so crazy to think, like, we have so many shootings every day that it's just kind of like, okay, whatever. But that was it was insane. It was insane when that happened.
July 28th, the 1984 Summer Olympics started here in Los Angeles with no Soviet Union in attendance.
Another tragedy.
Yeah, very sad. September 7th, an explosion on board a Maltese patrol boat disposing illegal fireworks off the Sea of Gozo kills 7 soldiers and a policeman.
Is that Gozo the Gozerian?
Yeah.
Is that where he's from?
Yeah, that's where, Gozerian
Not
is
to
from.
make light of the many
poor
deaths.
people dying.
Yes,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Poor Malta.
Was there a Stay Puft Marshmallow?
Yeah, there was. That's what happened. He set off the fireworks.
I'm going to just keep going.
That's fine. December 5th, 1984, it was the release of Beverly Hills Cop.
Woohoo!
The movie went on to spawn 2 sequels. It grossed $316 million. We'll get to that. It was the highest grossing movie of 1984. Second to none. It was above Raiders of the Lost Ark and Ghostbusters.
God, what a great year.
Which was crazy. Yeah. The film stayed at number 1 for 13 consecutive weeks and then came back to number 1 on its 15th weekend, making 14 non-consecutive weeks at number 1, tying Tootsie for the film with the most weeks at number 1.
Wow.
Crazy. Yeah, it's
Tootsie.
weird. Tootsie. I know, of all things, Tootsie. Adjusted for inflation, it is the 3rd highest grossing R-rated film of all time, behind The Exorcist and The Godfather.
Nice. That's a good company to be in.
It's really funny because I don't think of this movie as being rated R. I realize there's boobs and they go to strip club and there's some swearing and stuff.
It's
but
the swearing. I mean, it's the language because it's Eddie Murphy. You can't get Eddie Murphy without.
No, that's true.
That's true. Well, I guess you can. That's what ruined his career is basically doing a bunch of kids movies and taking the F-bombs out of Murphy.
It was his first of 7 consecutive number 1 box office hits.
He was a megastar, baby.
Starting with Beverly Hills Cop, going to The Golden Child, then Beverly Hills Cop 2, Eddie Murphy Raw, Coming to America, Harlem Nights, and Another 48 Hours.
There's a good 4 movies in that list.
Yeah. Most of those I really like. I'm not a huge fan of Harlem Nights or Another 48 Hours. But
no, that was kind of the slip. That was, the 48 hours, Another 48 Hours, cash grab. That was awful.
It was bad. And it was definitely, you could see the Eddie Murphy bubble slowly bursting.
Well, I think with any megastar, when Eddie Murphy started out, he was like, they found him when he was like 16 doing stand-up, and he was hilarious. So hilarious that he got on Saturday Night Live when he was like 17, 18 years old.
He was young,
And he blew up. I mean, 48
huge.
hours, everything that he touched just turned to gold. And you, as a young man, you forget that he was just like in his 20s when all this was happening.
Yeah.
You
his
get
early
to a
20s,
point where it's like, I'm the biggest star in the world. I can do whatever I want.
He was paid $4 million for this movie. Off
insane
a budget of $13 million.
That's how he made Bubble Hill or whatever that his home compound is called.
It just blows my mind that literally they took this, and not that he was unproven, but I mean, because everybody knew him, but the fact that his salary was almost a quarter of the budget.
He was lightning in a bottle. Just to go back to Ghostbusters for a second, Dan Aykroyd saw the potential there and was writing that movie for him.
He wanted it to be for him. Some people say that Eddie Murphy actually turned down Ghostbusters for this, but I don't believe that was true.
No, because Ghostbusters was being completely reworked. Before, and the Ghostbusters he was going to be in was with John Belushi.
It was a much different story.
But I don't know if you remember, there was a film, I think it was called Just Defense with Dudley Moore, or Best Defense. And Eddie Murphy was in it for like 6 seconds.
Oh, wow.
And when the ads for that movie came out, it was just Eddie Murphy. And then when you go to see it, you're like, this movie's A, really bad, and B, where the hell's Eddie Murphy?
He's not.
It was like Waldo. He was in it, but it was not very. They got him before he hit.
Right.
It was great.
So there's some argument about how the movie was created, about Beverly Hills Cop. Don Simpson and Michael Eisner were both Paramount executives. They argue about who came up with the idea. Michael Eisner actually claims that he was pulled over in 1975 in L.A. with a beat-up old station wagon and was treated like crap by the cops. He wanted to play upon this idea of a blue-collar cop coming into a high-end police station. But in 1977, Don Simpson claims that he had this idea about a cop from East LA heading to Beverly Hills to work a case.
Huh.
He actually had a script written for it.
Couldn't they both have the ideas?
I mean, technically, it sounds like they both did.
Yeah, and then they were just arguing about which one was the one that got, the goose,
the genius
in the pot.
Yeah. Don Simpson had a script written. He actually took it. He was actually developing it, but it languished. It was shelved until 1983, until Don Simpson's big hit with Paramount, Flashdance.
What a feeling.
Flashdance is the reason that Beverly Hills Cop happened.
That's insane. Flashdance was a phenomenon, though. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, it's just because entertainment and media wasn't what it is today, and there were so few things. You had your few channels on your TV, and then you had your movies that came out, and you had your books. And video games to some extent. But it's like there were such events back then. It just like Flashdance was another one of these iconic freaking movies that is just like everybody's wearing sweatshirts with no bra and their shoulders showing. It's another change. You'll have to definitely do a show on that.
Cultural. It was a huge cultural impact. The script that Don Simpson had written was a straight-up action movie and did not gain a lot of traction. So he brought in Daniel Petrie Jr., who rewrote the script and made it more of an action comedy.
Do you know what Mr. Petrie Jr. also wrote?
No.
Neither do I.
All right. Well, there you go. Well, his script was short-lived because they originally brought on Mickey Rourke to play the lead. According to Jerry Bruckheimer,
Beverly Hills Cop. I'm a cop from Detroit, and I'm going to Beverly Hills.
I'm so glad he was not in that movie.
I'm going to stop the murder of my body. I'm going to stop
Jerry Bruckheimer was a producer, and he claims that he actually gave him $400,000 a holding contract, which there's no record of whether or not he actually got to keep it or not.
Wait, to Mickey Rourke?
To Mickey Rourke, yeah.
Mickey Rourke was pretty cool back then, though. I mean, Pope of Greenwich Village was a great movie.
Well, that's actually what he ended up leaving to go do.
Oh, well, good. Because that was I'd much rather see him in that than Beverly Hills Cop.
But his reasoning was that the pre-production was just taking too long. So he was like, well, I'm going to go to this other movie.
He wasn't I don't think he had done like a big Hollywood movie by then.
Just a small aside, I worked with Jerry Bruckheimer for a while.
Ooh.
And that man hates shorts.
Wow.
If you ever attend a meeting with him in shorts, he will literally kick you out of the building.
Well, if you're going to a meeting with a big producer in shorts...
But he would show up to production meetings with like a bunch of grips, and they'd be like, why can't I fucking wear shorts?
Oh, grips?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, then he's just being a dick.
He was being a dick. Anyway, Jerry Bruckheimer, he's very successful.
Cocaine makes people more of who they are.
So they offered the part to Sylvester Stallone, which we will discuss more later with T. But it was going to be bad. Yeah. So Stallone said that his script for Beverly Hills Cop would have, quote,
You look like a scene from Private Ryan on the beach in Normandy. Believe it or not, I thought it was me in a stolen Lamborghini playing chicken on an oncoming freight train being driven by an ultra-slammer burger.
All right, so to translate that, he said it would have looked like the opening scene from Saving Private Ryan on the beaches of Normandy. Believe it or not, the finale was me in a stolen Lamborghini playing chicken with an oncoming freight train being driven by the ultra slimy bad guy. And this is a quote from him because he literally said ultra slimy.
Ultra slimy.
Yeah, they decided his ideas were too expensive after he had rewritten the script, which eventually he used for Cobra.
Yeah, Cobretti. Same character's name.
Cobretti, yeah.
Cobra was so much better than Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, yeah. Great movie. Movie.
But you know what? Brigitte Nielsen?
Yeah.
Cobra? Brigitte Nielsen?
Yeah.
Beverly Hills Cop 2. Brigitte Nielsen? One of the weirdest celebrity encounters I've ever had in Los Angeles.
Yeah? Did she bench press you?
No. She was... I was at this bar and they were doing this pilot for this celebrity karaoke show. Oh. And after they decided they weren't going to shoot the pilot, they just had this party and everybody was doing karaoke. And I was standing there with a friend and she's up there doing some rap song or something. And she pulls me up on stage and just it gives me the mic for me to just freestyle. And I'm like, a rip, rap, rip, and a rap. You know, I had no idea what the hell. It was just so bizarre. And then, yeah, she was fun. She was very interesting.
So Stallone ultimately pulled out 2 weeks before filming was to start because he wanted to do his Cobra movie and they wouldn't let him. Oh. So they contacted quite a few people in the 2 weeks before the movie was supposed to start.
Oh, yeah.
Quite a few actors that were considered for this role.
Jeff Bridges, James Caan, Billy Crystal, Robert De Niro, Harrison Ford, Richard Gere, Mel Gibson, Gregory Hines, Michael Keaton, Nick Nolte, Al Pacino, Richard Pryor, Dennis Quaid, Kurt Russell, Arnold Schwarzenegger, John Travolta, Robin Williams, Bruce Willis.
Yeah, none of them said yes, or they were never seriously considered.
No. Some of them would have been, Kurt Russell would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Richard Pryor would have been a much different movie.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
There's some good, you know.
But Pryor would have been good in it. I mean, it would have been fun.
Yeah.
But 2 days before they were going to shoot, they managed to convince Eddie Murphy to do the movie.
Woohoo!
Yeah. I'm sure that $4 million paycheck probably helped.
Yeah, I think that's a nice little carrot.
He's like, wait, you want to give me $4 million? Okay.
That's a perfect Eddie Murphy.
That was terrible. Wow, we're going to cut that out.
Was that Foghorn Leghorn or Eddie Murphy?
I have no idea. I don't do impressions. All right.
Yes, you do.
So that prompted them to do more rewrites. In the meantime, they were trying to get Martin Brest to do the movie. He had been fired from War Games, which I did not know.
I didn't know that either. I wonder why.
In fact, there was no record that I could find of why he was fired from the movie.
It was they sealed the record.
But he based the Beverly Hills interior police station off of his designs for the War Games, like actual interior.
Oh, cool! Yeah, with all
that
the
was his.
Stuff.
Yeah. So it was supposed to look as high end as possible in comparison to the Detroit crappy.
Yeah, at the time, man, that place was legit. And then you look at it now, and it's like there's 4K of RAM in the entire building.
It's true. It's true. Martin Brest didn't want to do it, and eventually.
I wonder why. I mean,
the thing is, he's only done 9 movies his entire career.
It's we always talk about this stuff and how it's like, how would somebody not do this?
Yeah.
And I think we have to realize that the movie that we see probably isn't the script that we're reading.
No,
you know what I mean?
no,
I think the script probably was very different, and it's just it's like we all are just like 2020 hindsight, armchair quarterbacks. Like, what was he thinking? But
well, in that regard, he was getting hounded by Simpson and Bruckheimer to do it, and Don Simpson eventually just stopped because Martin Brest kept saying no, and then Bruckheimer said, "No, I'm going to keep trying." And to get him off his back, Martin Brest said to Jerry Bruckheimer, "I will flip a coin."
That's insane.
If the coin says is heads, I'll do it. Tails, I won't. He flipped a coin. He directed the movie.
Most successful movie ever
made. The
movie
made $300 million plus, and he framed the nickel or quarter coin. He framed the coin that got him the job.
Damn straight he did.
I mean, he doesn't really have to work anymore. I mean, God knows he's making a ton of money off this stuff.
No, but also I find it a little interesting that Simpson and Bruckheimer picked Martin Brest because he's not a flashy director.
No, not at all. Not at all. But it gets to that gritty, real, like that Martin Brest did.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was real and down to earth.
He is the absolute best at grounded action comedy. You know, it's that movie and Midnight Run. They're both like two of my favorite action comedies of all time, but also just it's not, big explosions or, big crazy car chases or whatever. There's a few little fun things in there, but it's not like these giant spectacles. It's their character-driven pieces.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that he works with good actors, good actors that are good characters and they take direction well.
And that's the key to both of these movies is casting, is knowing
100%.
how to direct your actors to make the best movie and picking the right actors for the role. And it's like, reading that list, like I said, there's a lot of great actors, but there is only one Axel Foley, and that is Eddie Murphy.
Exactly. When they finally were shooting, they got to shooting. The opening was shot mostly in Detroit. They did have a police escort, but there were even areas in Detroit that the cops wouldn't go to.
It was pretty dicey back then in Detroit.
Crazy.
Detroit's had a long history of problems with the car industry pulling out.
Yeah.
It's like Michigan hasn't
Michigan's been shat on quite a bit.
Exactly. It's like the redheaded stepchild of
Yeah.
the United States sometimes, and that blows.
But to Martin Brest's credit, he shot there anyway. He shot those places and said, "Well, if you guys don't want to do it, this is what I need. This
and
is
they're great
what's good for
shots.
Oh yeah.
It's all those shots of like the kid at the, and the kids in front of the fire hydrant.
The opening. All the montage. Yeah, it's
really
brilliant.
cool.
It really sets the tone.
And yes, exactly.
And it sets the tone for Axel Foley because you know who he is and where he's from.
Just as, when he gets to Beverly Hills, the montage sets the tone perfectly for that. It's just like it's the real city. Even though it's a heightened version of Beverly Hills, it's really not that heightened, from back then. I had, it's very... Yeah.
They actually shot the exterior of the Beverly Hills police station was actually the Beverly Hills City Hall, and and despite Beverly Hills being very fancy, the exterior looked like crap.
Oh, sure. Well, it's a police station.
It was bad. So they actually the production actually paid to have a facelift done on Beverly Hills City Hall to make it look better before. Yeah.
Oh wow.
That's Beverly Hills for you. Always make the other guy pay for it.
That's why everybody's rich, because they don't use their own money.
But the worst part and the worst thing about Beverly Hills is that they don't allow shooting after 10:30 p.m.
Oh, sure.
So the large majority of the night scenes were shot in Pasadena.
Oh,
because Pasadena was like, whatever.
We'll take your money.
Come shoot here. That's fine.
All right. So very interesting, Adam.
Thank you.
I just
it's
love
fascinating
that movie.
story.
And watching it again, it hadn't been a while since I'd seen it. It was like I had just seen it an hour ago.
It's such a good movie.
It's in my brain. So we're gonna hit a promo, and then we're gonna come back with an interview with our good pal,
amazing interview with
T. Arthur Cotton.
I'm so excited.
Award-winning filmmaker, Mr. T. Arthur Cotton. Our very, 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 very special guest and our returning champion is an award-winning filmmaker. His movie, and also my movie too a little bit, Carbuncle, is available at carbunclemovie.com. I believe didn't you just win an award for 1 Hour Alcohol?
Yeah. 1 Hour Alcohol won Best Indie Feature at Film Threats Award this.
Well, throw it on the pile, buddy.
That's what I do, baby. I just win awards.
If you don't recognize his voice, it's a very, very good pal, Mr. T. Arthur Cotton. Hey, buddy.
Hey.
Yay! Hey guys.
Welcome back.
Thanks for having me on again.
Of
it was so much fun the first time. I'm excited to do it again.
Oh, and I'm gonna ruin the excitement right now with a little bit of sadness.
Oh boy.
One of our '80s ladies, Miss Tony Catan, passed away at 59.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Last night.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right.
Very unfortunate. Yeah.
Okay,
all right,
thanks.
Good job. Way to start off the conversation.
We're going to have a 30 minutes of silence.
But you know who's still alive? Eddie Murphy.
Yes, Eddie Murphy.
From Beverly Hills Cop. So
Eddie frickin' Murphy, the man.
Did you see it in the theater, T?
Of course.
Excellent. What was that like for you?
Transcendent. It was really fun. It was one of many movies that I went and saw with my mom.
Nice.
That was one of our things. We would go to the movies together, and it was just a lot of fun. I mean, I was a big fan of 48 Hours.
Oh, me too.
At that point, yeah. Which, by the way, 80s different time, 70s and 80s different time, right? I think I was like.
Yes.
I think I was like 10 years old when my dad took my brother and I to see 48 Hours.
Yeah, we got to go see R-rated movies when we were way, way too young to see them.
Yeah, I think the only time I didn't get into an R-rated movie when I was a kid was when my mom took me to see Conan the Barbarian.
Oh.
And we had bought the tickets, and we were about to go into the movie theater, and the guy who was taking the tickets is like, "Are you sure you want to bring a kid in to see this movie?" And it was as if that was the first moment that it had occurred to my mom that it might not be okay to take me to see an R-rated movie.
Look, Arnold Schwarzenegger's acting is really bad, so You might not want to subject your child to it.
Hey, that movie played to all his strengths, right? I mean,
Yes.
he's silent for most of the movie.
His
he just
muscles
needed to be silent and violent, right?
Yeah, I like that.
So,
Silent and violent.
I just came up with it.
I know, it's brilliant. It's the title of your next movie. Silent but deadly. One thing about Beverly Hills Cop is like it's not really an action movie. There's some action in it, but it's all grounded in reality. Like there's no like slow mo dual wielding pew pew pew. As he's diving on the thing, it's just like they shoot their guns. They look scary. They look scared. Yeah.
Well, here's it's funny because I had been thinking about this, before you even asked me to do the show, and this sort of plays into that. Is that the opening sequence of this movie is the weirdest for an action, quote unquote, action movie, even for a comedy movie. It's the weirdest opening because it's Glenn Frey, the heat is on, right? And it's like this kind of, just got this rhythm to it, and it's no, before that.
Oh, yeah.
That's the Pointer Sisters.
All right.
So before that, there's Glenn Frey's "The Heat Is On," and the heat is on, and
heat is on.
Yeah.
and it's just showing these kind of mundane shots of Detroit. Well, it's not like some big action sequence. It's just like, oh yeah, here's some kids playing in the water, and here's some, a dude drinking a beer out of a bag, and it's just sort of these mundane shots with this like pumping soundtrack.
Yeah. Well, and then we get the most bizarre car chase too, which that's a great car chase. Yeah, but it totally reminded me of the Blues Brothers, because it's like there was so many movies had like these one bubble crappy old looking cop car chases with like 80 cars that just get smushed. It's just like so many cars got just dunked on in that scene for no reason, and there's no like, if it was today, Eddie Murphy would have climbed up on top of the truck and made his way and punched the guy out and saved the day, but now he's just flip-flopping around.
He's just flip-flopping around in the back, right? That's a good point.
He doesn't really do much. He just kind of holds on for dear life.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Well, that's what I love about him. His character isn't a super dude. He's not even like doesn't seem like a good shot. They don't. He's just he's Bugs Bunny. Axel Foley's Bugs Bunny, because he's a smart ass, but he's not an asshole.
Right.
That's I never thought about the comparison to Bugs Bunny. I mean, why would I? But it's but it is kind of a good comparison. Yeah, he's a smart ass. He's not some sharpshooter or like tough guy or anything like that. He and that is part of what that's a big part of what I like about the movie, is that he is just he uses his wits.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like to say Bugs Bunny, it's almost like, telegram from Mr. Blibbity Blue, because he even comes in with deliveries and stuff,
Right. That's so true.
If he put on a dress, it's like, I need to see Mr. Maitland,
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. That Bugs Bunny comparison is really kind of a revelation here. You're blowing my mind, Jim.
Boom. The edibles are kicking in.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Interview over. That's.
All right.
I mean, I think you covered it with the Bugs Bunny thing. I thought I had something revelatory with the whole opening sequence, but this is, that the Bugs Bunny comparison is. Did you know? And Adam, I'm sure you're great with the research, so I'm sure you already know this. You guys may have already discussed it, but. Did you know that it was originally supposed to be a vehicle for Sylvester Stallone?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
his name was Cobretti in that, too.
Yeah.
In Beverly Hills Cop. And so it was basically his...
I didn't know that.
Cobra is what his Beverly Hills Cop would have been.
Yeah.
Wow.
He rewrote the entire script.
Put a banana in the tailpipe.
When he came in and did his little rewrites, and it essentially became Cobra.
And then there's this dumb story that they said that he quit over orange juice.
Yeah, I don't know if that's real or not.
Yeah.
I think it might have been made up, but supposedly he didn't like the brand of orange juice they had
in his trailer.
So.
This is a Tropicana. I quit.
I don't know.
Jim Ashton, ladies and gentlemen. now do Nick Nolte.
Convict.
Wow, that was pretty good. That's one of your better impersonations.
Oh, wow, ties it right into the 48 hours.
Oh, hey, baby, I'm a professional.
That's awesome. I mean, he grunts through half of the movie, 48 hours.
Grunts through 3/4 of his career.
Yeah,
but
he's literally chewing on gravel the whole time.
But back to Beverly Hills.
Yes, please.
So yeah, part of the reason why I love it is because he's a smart ass and he gets by on his wits, and there's like this subtle sort of message about classism.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe not so subtle.
Yeah, I was gonna
say. Which I related to too, being a poor kid growing up in LA and going to school with a lot of rich kids. For me, that was really appealing. I was like, wow, he uses it as a strength almost.
Yeah. Well, and also, go ahead. Sorry.
No. That's pretty much it. I was just going to ramble on from there. So, yeah.
Well, no, but also it has one of my absolute favorite tropes is enemies becoming best friends, and they do such a good job of like the trio, coming together with Taggart and Billy. But it's like it's believable. And the cool thing about Eddie Murphy in that is he's not a jerk. He respects these guys. He's like, you guys are good cops. I just don't understand why you got a stick up your ass. He's just like he's more baffled than anything else. Like, you want me to press charges? Nah, I'm not going to do that. You guys are crazy.
Right. And okay, can we just acknowledge? So, can we just acknowledge that if this were real life, Axel Foley and Taggart and Rosewood would all be dead.
Oh, yeah.
Like if these circumstances happen in real life, all those guys would be dead.
Eddie Murphy would have been dead when they threw him through the window. The cops would have showed up and just shot him.
He's breaking and entering.
Oh, he would have been dead in Detroit before that. I mean, when they killed his best friend, they would have killed him too.
Or when he popped up in the back of the truck, they would have been like, boo, 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 boo. Oh, damn it, he was a cop.
He was a cop. Oops, all right.
Quick, put a gun in his hand.
Put him in the van, right.
It doesn't make any sense that they allowed him to stay alive when they killed his friend. Like, that was the one plot point that I was like, okay, I get it. He has to stay alive, but
really? I say that not as a criticism of the movie. I say that to say, like, let's suspend our disbelief, because obviously we have to suspend our disbelief and just have fun with this movie. So if anybody's going into this movie thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to see this gritty cop, movie that's got comedy in it, it's like, no, you're seeing a popcorn fun movie that, like, anytime it's on anywhere, I just will let it play or stop and watch it, because it's a great fun movie, and that's what it's meant to be. So,
oh man, I hadn't seen it in probably 10 or 15 years, and when I watched it a couple of days ago, I immediately
been a couple months for me.
It shows. No, but
I watch it frequently.
Yeah,
it's like Midnight Run. Like, those are my,
Exactly. I've been trying this year. In the last couple of years, I've been trying to do a thing where I watch movies I haven't seen rather than movies I've seen.
Man.
But doing this show, I've been able to revisit my favorites, and I'm like, why am I even doing that? That's stupid. First of all, and second of all, it was like as soon as I started watching Beverly Hills Cop, I knew all the dialogue. I was right along. Doing my dumb little characters for the cat.
I haven't watched Beverly Hills Cop in a while, and I totally forgot that Ronnie Cox was not the bad guy. So literally the whole movie, I was like waiting for Ronnie Cox to be revealed as the bad guy.
Well, that's the thing. It's like that movie was grounded in reality, right? Yeah. Like the characters weren't like Beverly Hills Cop 1 versus Beverly Hills Cop 2. They're Beverly Hills 1 was charming. It was its own little thing, and the Beverly Hills Cop 2 because of Tony Scott. You know, with
Tony Scott,
his electric sunsets and the orange.
Oh, I love his style.
Yeah, it's beautiful, but it didn't go with Beverly Hills Cop for me because it just made it a little too big. It's like,
see, I like Beverly Hills Cop too. Okay, so I watch Beverly Hills Cop 1 all the time. Okay. I don't watch Beverly Hills Cop 2. I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen in years. But I still love the movie, and it's partly because I do love the Tony Scott style. Beverly Hills Cop 3 is one of the worst movies ever made.
Oh, yeah. I walked out of that movie in the theater.
I saw it for free.
Same. I snuck in. I walked out even though I snuck in.
I didn't sneak in. I saw it a friend of mine worked at Universal at the time, and they were having a screening for the employees at Universal, so he invited me to go. Ooh. And I was so pissed off. I'm like, I just saw this movie for free, and I will never get that time back. And it's one of the I was offended by how bad it was.
Me too, because it was like so lazy and so awful and unfunny, yes. And it's like.
Yes,
like in such bad special effects too, like the whole thing on the roller coaster or whatever.
Terrible. It was just
all of that. I literally did not do any research for Beverly Hills Cop 3.
Good, because that movie should be buried with E.T. the video game and burned to hell.
Right, I agree, and it had all the elements to be good. It was John Landis.
Yep,
it's a successful franchise. It's
Bronson Pinchot came back.
Bronson Pinchot. I mean, it had all the elements to be a good movie, and it was just dog crap.
Well, it goes to show you that a script is kind of important sometimes.
Right.
I think that was one where they started shooting before they had a script finished.
Oh, yeah. Oh, really?
Well, they only had 7 years to write it.
It shows.
Oh, it is awesome.
Let's just do it in an amusement park and add a love interest and some crappy special effects, and we're just doing it for the cash grab anyway. So,
cut out all the comedy too. We don't need any comedy. The laughs just slow it down.
The comedy is only in how bad it is.
Yeah.
That's the only way it works as a comedy. But it is. I do like that. The subtle social commentary that goes on in Beverly Hills Cop. I mean, even and you can take it at face value and just say, well, it's just a fun cop movie, comedy, or you can take it as a social commentary, and it kind of works both ways.
Yeah, and he stands up. Against all of it. He never shrinks back. He never takes it. Anybody does it, he's just like back in your face, like, no way, pal.
That's what the interesting thing with Rosewood and Taggart is that you can see them grow to respect him as the movie goes on, and because he's a good cop.
Especially
really
Taggart, who's also fighting a bit of racism probably, and
right.
But it was really
Taggart's like everybody's beleaguered stepdad, he's just like
deal with this shit.
I hate everything. I just want to blow my brains out. but I think he also gets reinvigorated because he becomes a cop again.
Yeah.
And Bobby, is it? Judge Reinhold?
Yeah, Rosewood.
Yeah,
Bobby.
He becomes a cop. So it's like these, it's like a journey for I hate that word, but I'll say it. It's like, Eddie Murphy, it's like these guys become better cops because Eddie Murphy's such a good cop. And that's the one thing that's not funny is his skills. Like when he's figuring out about the cocaine in the coffee and when he's figuring out, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Well, it's a great, then that's another thing. It was just really clever, and it was stuff that, and I know that we were young when we saw it, but it was stuff that you wouldn't think of, like the coffee with the drug, throwing off the scent of the dogs. And there were those clever things in it. And I think a pivotal scene in terms of them, him earning their respect, Axel earning the respect of Taggart and Rosewood is the scene in the strip club.
Yeah, right.
And you think this is just going to be some gratuitous scene where he takes him to the strip club and oh, ha ha, aren't they uncomfortable? And it has all of that. But then it shows, oh, he's a good guy. He's super observant, and
Taggart's a good cop because he listens. He's not just like screw you guys.
Right. Which is original for its time too.
Yeah.
Because usually it was. Yeah, I hate. Go ahead, Jim.
That's one thing
I hate it too. Go ahead.
Yeah, you and I have talked about this. I just hate manufactured conflict.
Yeah,
that's just there for no reason. It's like these speed bumps that you can, that are just, they're just written in there, and that's a problem too. It's like when a lot of these sequels from these 80s movies, they would tear the people apart and have to bring them back together again. And it's like, if you look at like something like
another 48 hours.
Exactly. Which was so pointless.
That's a perfect example.
But if you look at like Lethal Weapon 2, where they strengthened the bond between the two guys, it was almost a better movie than Lethal Weapon 1, in my opinion.
Oh, I think, in my opinion, it was a better movie than Lethal
because
Weapon
1. They built on the strengths rather than trying to, be like, okay, let's recreate the magic.
Right. Yeah, no, they built on it. I totally agree. Yeah,
but Beverly Hills Cop 2, they did, they were all buddies that fished together and stuff, But the manufactured crap was that ridiculously cartoonish, inspector guy that was just like, you're all a bunch of jerks and everybody's a jerk and you're fired and man, I'm gonna give you
exactly. Oh, I don't care what the evidence says. You guys are going against protocol.
Yes.
Oh, I'm throwing it all out. This is bullshit. Now straighten up and fly right.
Right. Yeah.
Motherfuckers.
How did that guy become chief? It's like, how did any of these chiefs become chief if they're such, I don't give a crap about what you're saying.
Right. Well, and that's something that you're bringing up, something that makes Lieutenant Bogomil really likable too, because in the end he does listen to them. Yeah. It's exactly what you're talking about. It's like he questions the methods, obviously, but in the end he's sort of like, well,
evidence is there. Yeah.
Yeah, if they caught him, they caught him.
Like, and he comes in to help too, and he like makes up that whole story, that awesome line.
Right, right.
The whole time I was watching it, I was expecting him to be the bad guy, and when he wasn't, it was like a breath of fresh air. It was like, oh no, he's good at this.
Yeah,
that's right. And this is,
I mean, the core cops are good cops. They're good at what they do, and they respect each other. And even the jerk upper cop, he's not as cartoonish. Right. And hateable as the other. He's just an old, he's been riding a desk too long, baby.
The chief or whatever.
Yeah.
Is this the guy that put the banana in the tail pipe? Yeah. Is this the man?
Yes.
Past the Herald Club? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, can we acknowledge also? I don't want to forget to acknowledge the guy who plays Mike from Breaking Bad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Jonathan Banks.
Yes.
Jonathan Banks, yes, thank you. I was blanking on his name.
Oh, he's so creepy. He's so creepy.
Oh, yeah, he's even creepier with hair.
Yeah.
That's what I've noticed.
Younger and with it. I got to say that he is in, like, two of the most... Number one, it's cool that he's in both 48 Hours and Beverly Hills Cop.
Yep.
And so I was a fan of his, just from that. And he's in like two of, I know this is not going to mean much after hearing that I watched like My Bloody Valentine, Friday the 13th as a kid, but I still like, he's in like two of the most traumatic scenes in my favorite 80s movies, which is, in 48 Hours, him getting blown away at the beginning of 48 Hours. That was one of those moments that you talked about, Jim, where I was like, what? He did what he asked him to do. He said he was going to let him live, and then he just blows him away. What the fuck just happened?
That's not fair.
Yeah, I remember thinking that as a kid. Like, I watch it now, and I still get that, like, shock through my body that goes... It's like this. It's just like reliving that trauma, of like, oh my god. And of course, as an adult, I know better. Yeah. Like logically, I know. Yeah, this is a movie, but I still feel that electricity go through my body. Like, oh my god, I'm seeing something that I shouldn't be watching. That like it's not. It shouldn't go that way.
Right. No. Yes. Exactly. I mean, that's what we're taught. But now we know that life is not fair at all.
Right.
So, you will most likely
that's probably what's going to happen. People are going to lie to you and shoot you in the face, especially in this business.
Right. And then in Beverly Hills Cop, it's a similar kind of thing where Jonathan Banks is like, Okay, well, I'm gonna let you go, but you just don't come back.
Yeah,
okay? So, all right, you messed up. Don't do it again, okay? Like, I love our reenactment.
Yeah. Our dinner theater production of Beverly Hills Cop.
It's riveting.
Right. And then he shoots him. Well,
you know what's crazy about that is I distinctly remember when he gets shot, like crap spewing forth from his front. But when I watch it again, there's nothing. So I guess my brain...
Same thing.
You know?
My brain just fills in the blank. And it's so... But it has such a violent feel to it, too. Yeah. Because it's that shot from far away, and he's pulling his hair back, and he's pointing... Is he pulling his hair back? I think he's pulling his hair back.
Yeah.
And he's got it's that side angle shot. It's such a violent looking shot.
And it's sudden, and there's like no...
And it's sudden, right.
There's not like this, wait 3 seconds as his fingers like, tensing on the trigger.
Right. Which is a testament to the directing by a fellow NYU alumnus.
Ugh. No, I'm just kidding. Is that Martin Brest?
Yeah.
Martin Brest, yeah.
Yeah, did he direct Midnight Run?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, he's got such a great grounded, I don't know if action comedy director, but it's like the action is just so not action.
He did not want to direct this movie at all.
Really?
They literally had to hound him for like 3 months.
He ended up flipping a coin.
Yeah, then he ended up flipping a coin just because he didn't want them to call him anymore.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, whatever the coin says it is. And he did the movie. It was his biggest movie he ever made.
That's crazy because to me, like Midnight Run and Beverly Hills Cop are his best movies by far.
Oh, yeah. And 2 of the best cop movies,
Yeah.
Or crime movies, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not technically.
Crime comedies.
Midnight Run's not a comedy.
Yeah.
But it's in that family. Yeah.
There's crimes.
Sure.
There's crimes. There's some cops too in it.
80s action comedies. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
Are there movies like that today? I mean, in the last 20 years, that are kind of like, because everything seems like everybody's got to be buff and everything's got to be like,
Yeah.
I mean, they did.
The
are
Good
doing
Guys.
like that.
I was just going to say The Good Guys.
Yeah, that was such a great movie. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. And then there's the one that, oh God, why am I'm totally blanking on the name.
The Nice Guys, right?
The Nice Guys. Yeah. That's so funny. They're 2 similar titles, and I couldn't remember The Nice Guys. Good Guy. Yeah. But yeah, The Nice Guy. But I don't even think that, like, The Nice Guys, I felt it was okay, but it was a little disappointing for me anyway.
I guess
they do them now, but they're all like gimmicky. They're always it's like that Uber movie that Kumail Nanjiani was in or whatever. It's always or it's like the guy with the kid, or like there's always a gimmick to it.
Yeah,
like there's some kind of
they can't be strong enough on just the.
No, it can't just be a cop investigating something.
That's awesome. I mean, why? I just don't get it. I don't know. I guess people just aren't into that. They need things complicated.
Well,
I think they are into it, and I think we need to revive the genre.
Damn straight, baby. Oh, man. It is so much fun to have you every time.
Same here.
Thank you so much for being with us, man.
Yeah, always.
Oh, thank you guys. It's always fun. So and I can't wait to come back.
Yeah. What's next? What do you want us to do?
Yeah, we'll cover whatever you want.
48 hours?
48 hours would be awesome. Right. Fletch would be awesome.
Fletch. Done. Okay, we'll have you back for Fletch. And 48 hours. I love you, buddy.
Awesome.
Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you guys.
T is hilarious.
He's great, guys. It's so much fun. Release the full interview at some point.
Yeah, I think the world deserves to hear all of our insane ramblings. So, man, Beverly Hills Cop. It changed my life. I mean, I loved that movie so much when I saw it. My buddy Larry and I wish Larry needs to listen to the show because he's going to come up a lot. But, I remember seeing that with him. I think we gave each other the soundtrack for Christmas because it came out around December.
Wow. Yeah, December 4th.
But it's like, that music and the Ghostbusters, the soundtracks of those movies were the soundtracks for the summer, and just the movies that came out that year. You said Raiders of the Lost Ark, Gremlins. It was such an amazing year to be in the theater, and that movie. all of those movies had one thing in common. They were just completely different from each other, but they were good time Charlies. You know, it was you were going to have a great time.
Yeah.
Raiders of the Lost Ark, Gremlins, Beverly Hills Cop,
Ghostbusters. Like, it just they're
Tootsie.
Fun. It was all about Tootsie.
Tootsie. But it was such a fun year. And such great movies, and I think that was kind of the year maybe that solidified my wanting to be in that business, because I was like, I want to make something like this. It's so much fun. That was kind of too around the time that my friends and I were making our own little movies and our own videos. Like we talked about with the MTV show. That was the thing is as our Generation X were watching these movies, we were also making movies because we had the VCR, the video cassette recorders.
To do it.
We had, we were the first generation to really have a instant a thing. You didn't have to shoot an 8mm and then wait for it to get processed.
No film developing.
And then cut
stuff,
it, blah, blah, blah. I would do VCR to VCR cutting. And it was those movies, we would take, you would take a Beverly Hills Cop song, we would take literally we took the Neutron dance around Christmas, and we made this stupid video of us running around in circles and jumping and playing.
It was a lot of fun, and it was nice to be able to go be entertained.
Yes.
And it sparked your imagination in such a way.
And it wasn't condescending, they were all great movies that weren't talking down to you or trying to be everything to everybody.
Right. Yeah, it was a lot of it was just fun at the end of the day. I mean, this is why these movies that's why we're talking about right now. I mean, they're indelible. They're always going to be around.
And Beverly Hills Cop, just so many great characters and launched so many careers. It was so great to see Judge Reinhold go from, the guy that's like wackety jackety in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which is an incredible performance, by the way. I mean, that's what everybody remembers that because, the scene of Phoebe Cates is like the scene for boys of a certain generation or whatever.
Burned in your mind.
Exactly. But he is so good because he's not stupid. He's just naive, They play him as he's green.
Yeah.
But, he's got good instincts. And
but
Taggart,
well.
Taggart could have been just a complete racist a-hole or just one of those guys, but he was such a good character, such a well-rounded cop. Same thing with Bogomil, and even the one character that I don't really like, but he was fine, was like his partner back in Detroit. The guy the Nebish from
Mad About You guy.
Yeah. Paul Reiser. The poor man Seinfeld. But in Todd, Inspector Todd, he wasn't like, he was the, you're in trouble, man. But he was also like, you're a good cop, man. And you got to do if you're going to be a cop, you got to do it. His stuff made sense. Like the whole scene where he's like, my ass is getting chewed out. And then he's like, hey, Captain, you still got the last laugh. And he's like, don't test me. What's weird though?
Yeah.
Is that actor, Gil Hill,
played Inspector Todd.
Played Inspector Todd. Yeah. He was an actual head of the Detroit Homicide Division for a while. Yeah. He was the head of the Homicide Division during the Atlanta child murders.
Right.
And he was on the city council. He ran for mayor a couple of times unsuccessfully. He was also under investigation by the FBI.
Oh, wow.
For corruption, for like taking bribes from drug dealers. And one of the things is he was apparently allegedly covered up the murder of this 13-year-old boy by these drug dealers.
Oh, wow.
And, he denied it. He was never prosecuted. There's a lot of interest. Look it up if you're interested in the story.
Gil Hill.
But he passed in 2016 at 84. He was also, on the other side, he was like a big hero of the community. But it's just, what an interesting guy. Like, the fact that they got a real cop to play him shows the authenticity.
Well,
and the fact that they got a possibly real corrupt cop shows the real authenticity.
That's Martin Brest, man. He was all about making everything as real as possible while still being a movie. But it was all about, And to Martin Brest's credit, and not just him, but obviously Jerry Bruckheimer and Don Simpson.
Yeah.
But the original budget for the movie was $14 million.
Goodness gracious!
And they brought it in under $13 million, not $3 million, under $13 million. They managed to shave $1 million off the budget.
So they made it literally for $9 million because 4 of that was for.
Right, went to Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, so for $9 million, they made that's what's incredible is every time we talk about these movies and the scope of them, and the budgets are so small, and everything is practical or or set paintings or whatever. It's just they knew how to like make movies for a lot less money and make them a lot more realistic. Because I know we were talking about it with T, but I just miss that. I really want to see a gritty, funny cop or crime drama those,
Well, and it's the thing is that the flip side of that is that 10 years later, when Beverly Hills Cop 3 came out, the budget for that was between $50 to $70 million.
Yeah, and probably 20 of that went to Eddie Murphy.
And it was crap.
I mean, because he phoned it. He didn't give a crap about that movie. Nobody gave a crap about that movie. Everybody it was past
sad.
It was past all of their prime. It was past poor John Landis's prime because he didn't give a crap. I mean, he was never the same film director after the two people died on Twilight Zone, the movie. Murphy was he was making the kids' movies. That's when he started making those, the cash grabs. And it just was lazy. It was a lazy movie that was so bad that
it was really disappointing because it was set up to be so successful and be so good, and it was just so
mad. I was so angry at that movie because I love those characters so much, and I loved the first one and even the second one. I loved them, and I was so excited for Beverly Hills Cop 3, and it let me down so hard, man.
Yeah. It was disappointing.
It was like your stepdad being like, "Oh, I'm going to take you to Disneyland," and then he picks you up and he takes you down to get a shot.
Yeah.
In the butt.
In the butt.
By a needle. Just want to make that clear.
But it was great. It launched, it definitely solidified Eddie Murphy
as a superstar.
For a little while, yeah.
Bronson Pinchot, he got to do Perfect Strangers after that, became a big star in his own right.
Yeah. I mean, it was really... But, I mean, for me, and a lot of it was that, I grew up in, like, a middle class, a lower middle class, I guess, like, household, and the stuff that T was talking about, it really hit home of, like, having these people who, just because they have money, somehow they think they're better than you.
Sure. Well, it's a lot of fun watching a guy outsmart a bunch of people that think they're super smart.
Right. And the fact...
And it shows you money can't buy you smarts.
And the fact that he earned their respect, and like they stood behind him because he did the right thing.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, a cop's a cop.
Yeah,
and it's like at least the movie cop situation.
We need more cops like that now.
Man, let's get some more Axel Foleys and some more Bogomils and some more Taggarts and some more Billies.
Rosewoods, we need
That's police reform.
Better cops, please. Yeah.
And then also, like, it's just kind of quaint to watch, like, the shootouts, too, where it just, pap, 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 and it's just like they're sloppy, they're messy. Nobody looks cool. Taggart's trying to get up the wall and he's slipping down, stepping on Billy's head. And, even Axel, he gets to do one, like, action roll, and pop up and shoot somebody. But for the most part, there's nothing cool about, their shootouts.
No, it was very real. I mean, at the end of the day.
Yeah, and they weren't also played for laughs. It wasn't like, of course, the trying to get up the thing is
goofy
played for laughs,
but that would have happened. I mean, they would have thought this is the way we go. And then,
but it was the violence was not important in this movie. It was just ancillary. No. It was just you got to have a shootout with the bad guy at the end. The good guy's got to kill the bad guy. You can't get away. It's Hollywood. Can't get away from that. They got to shoot. And let's just talk for a second about that giant lump right in the center of the bad guy's head. This big wart. Oh, Mr. Foley. Victor Maitland.
Yeah, Maitland. Played by Stephen Burkoff.
Yeah, Stephen Burkoff.
Who's British. And I can't remember, did he have a British accent in the movie?
It was like this.
It was kind of, yeah.
No, it's perfect impersonation.
It was, okay, wow.
Spot on.
All right, wow. It's like Stephen Burkoff was in the room with me. I
He was also in one of the Rambo movies, wasn't he?
Rambo First Blood Part 2.
Yes.
Yeah. I was reading that Stephen Berkoff hated this movie.
Really?
With a passion.
It's because they focused on his big old head wart.
His weird goose egg.
You better put some makeup over my giant wart, or I will hate this movie.
He went on record as saying that it's just not his thing. It just wasn't his thing.
Well, he was great in it.
Yeah, he was great in it. He's been in a bunch of stuff.
I think maybe his hatred of it kind of added to his little devilish performance.
It makes sense. I mean, maybe he's still in character.
Who knows? But he was good. It's just I've always that one guy is that thing, man.
Yeah,
it's like so distracting.
It is.
Especially
now with like HD and everything.
Said, bro, let me just say I have to cut that.
Okay.
Just get it removed, man.
Yeah, it doesn't help any with the Blu-ray releases and everything.
It's haunting me.
Wow, it's actually 4 inches off his head. It's crazy.
Yes, it's in 3D.
All right, well, Beverly Hills Cop, highly recommend going and seeing it again.
If you have not seen Beverly Hills Cop, get to it.
They are all on HBO Max right now. Yeah. So
as we speak, things bounce around.
Yeah, granted, by the time this airs, it might not be. But check it out. It's a fun movie. It's highly recommended. Even if you pay $4 to rent it, you should do it.
Yeah, buy it on Blu-ray, baby.
So
it's worth having it in your collection.
Get it for $10.
If we're going to talk about the 100 best movies of the '80s, that's in the top 10. I would say.
Oh
probably.
yeah. Totally.
We should do that. That's a good idea.
Best movies of the '80s. Yeah, look at us making up ideas.
All right. Well, we're going to leave you be, and we'll be back next week. Thanks for joining us. Any closing thoughts about Mr. Beverly Hills Cop 3? Or no, Jesus. That Red Bull's kicking it.
What?
We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Battlestar Galactica, already in progress.